But I also had a part that is an important journey in our tourism industry that they faced as well. And I got to experience this firsthand and made me incredibly proud and incredibly sad at the same time. We got advice from Parks Australia that they were considering to declare Kakadu National Park as a biozone. This was prior to NLC, the Northern Land Council, and other land councils looking to do this. So I called a meeting of all our touring operators that operate in and around parks. And I said to them, guys, we've got notice that this notice could be coming out in the next 72 hours. There's a small window here of what can we be doing in our touring sector across the Northern Australia, including anybody who comes in contact and goes into any of our regions. What can we be doing to mitigate 100% as best we can, that we wouldn't be passing potentially anything on. Within 10 minutes, there were some general discussions about the level of activity that we could do and the surety that we could provide. But then someone asked the question to say, so what we're effectively saying is we'll do everything we can, but we can't mitigate 100% that our businesses could some way impact 65,000 years of living culture. There was silence around the table and across the Zoom as each business owner put their hand up and said, not on my watch, we're closing now. And I witnessed the business owners there grapple with the staff, their expenses, their families. But due to the nature of this pandemic, no one in our sector was going to have any part in affecting our most vulnerable communities, and in particular our First Nation communities, a long way away from any medical help, so they closed their businesses. That decision saw a number of businesses never open. That saw businesses that made those decisions not respected by any level of government other than some token handouts, and they're now gone from our industry. So proud of that. Tough time. Also, we saw a number of our aviation companies that were flying in and out of regional communities. No vaccines. Is there a potential that one of our pilots could fly someone in a small aircraft where we don't have to be flying, we won't be flying, we'll be letting those people go? And that was the lived reality last year. And it's continued on. I'm proud to say that nobody in my membership of over 550 businesses has rung me, contacted me, stopped me in the street to say, Glenn, that's rubbish. We have a right to put economy first. No one's done that. And if I could take the moment to say, at this very moment, in this scenario that's being played out very publicly in the media of vaccination equity and the disparity in the numbers and the confusing conversations that are going on between a territory and a federal level as to what the real numbers are. We're not into public shaming, not for a second, any community, but certainly having an understanding of what's ahead of us as a tourism industry is really key, because the members care and they want, but equally they'd like to know what's being done and what more can be done, and what role they can play in helping our tourism industry, which is not just a non-Aboriginal tourism industry. A substantial share of my members are Aboriginal-owned businesses, or employ Aboriginal people, or partner with Aboriginal people. And whilst we say that people come here for Kakadu, for the scenery and the escarpments, most certainly the reason they come here is for culture, first and foremost. So until we sort this out, we can see that so many parts of what makes Northern Australia, in particular the top end great, will be off limits to the rest of Australia. And we need to have those businesses in a position that the day that we are able to mobilise again, that those businesses are still operational. And sadly, those businesses are going by the by. I'm also, I was on a call this morning to learn that sadly, one of our members took their life.
Oh, Glen.
And because they can't see their way through this.
Hey, I know we talk about this a lot, Glen, but I just want to say on behalf of our committee, thank you so much for your evidence and for sharing so publicly the real hurt that your members are experiencing, and no doubt yourself as the head of this organisation, but also your care and concern for First Nations people across the Northern Territory as much as the tourism industry, because of the work that you do together. And sincere condolences to your member and the families. This is just absolutely tragic news. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, Glen.
Thank you. I just want to also just express my deep sorrow for somebody losing their life because of the pressures that have applied through this COVID period. And I just think that the evidence you've given has been so critically important, including that tragedy, for people to shock value to understand what the consequences are and what the real consequences are if we don't get this right with the industry. So I just want to thank you very much, Mr. Hingley, for your evidence tonight. It'll certainly go into our deliberations. It'll be a great deal of assistance, and I wish you best for the rest of the afternoon.